Shane Gillis went back on Joe Rogan and is kind of forcing Joe Rogan to watch Notre Dame football clips. So funny. Like, Joe Rogan is obsessed with UFC and all the MMA sports and combat sports. And I've been listening to him over the years, and he's just slowly gotten a little bit of crack in the armor of him not really liking football. And now he attends college football games. He's living there in Texas, and he goes to college football games, and he speaks more and more about football. I think that a lot of that is thanks to Shane Gillis with him pushing football to Joe all these times. Now, let me throw this up here, this clip real quick of him on the Joe Rogan Experience talking about Notre Dame football. Here we go.
I want to see Jeremiah Love score a touchdown versus Penn State.
You think it's going to happen?
Wait, no. Oh, hold on. That was fun.
Oh, look at this air. That's insane.
Wow. No, wait to see the
Bro,
effort.
that's insane.
Wait to see the effort he put in to score this
touchdown. Show that again.
Oh, it's crazy.
That leap right there. Look at that. That is insane. That's so impressive.
He's got a hurt knee.
Look at that.
Yeah, look at that. He's got a brace on.
His right knee's fucked up.
It's great to finally see Joe Rogan put some respect on football, because he never talks about it. He never gives it any love.
Man, Shane is truly an influencer across many different areas.
He really like that. That's the biggest podcast in the world, and they were talking about Notre Dame football and these players and these young kids right here. And we got Shane Gillis to thank for that. It's pretty damn cool. And let's continue watching on this clip.
He didn't get a lot of touches.
With it.
That's so crazy.
Wait till you see the touchdown he scored.
Yeah, he did that all with his left leg.
Yeah.
Like he's favoring his right knee even when he goes down.
Yeah. For an extra 2 yards.
I know. That was like a loss of yards.
Yeah, that was like, dude, just give it up.
But that's a player you want on your team.
He's the first player Notre Dame's had in a while that's like a complete mutant.
Wow.
What's
wrong with his knee?
Watch this touchdown run. Just watch the effort.
From the 2, Irish trying to take the lead.
This is anybody's game at this point.
He handed it off to Love, who stays on his feet. Love
Wow.
is in the end zone.
Wow.
We needed that win.
Yeah.
That was
That was the closest game
my
to the
whole
playoffs.
childhood was on this game.
I always forget that's where Shane is from. He's from Pennsylvania. He had a lot of pride on that game right there. Thoughts on that? Scott, how do you feel about Notre Dame football getting rocket ship blast into the zeitgeist right there on the Joe Rogan podcast?
Dude, I love it. I mean, we were talking about last episode. Shane is like the vanguard of all Notre Dame fandom, and we posed the question: who is more influential in the rise of Notre Dame or the reawakening of Notre Dame on the national stage? Is it Shane or is it Marcus Freeman? And some would say even Jeremiah Love. I mean, I think Shane and Jeremiah Love are going hand in hand here with that highlight.
Dude, I know we're joking. I know we're joking about that, but Shane Gillis actually is having a huge influence on the public's perception of Notre Dame football. This dude is just stumbling his way to being a massive, massive brand ambassador for Notre Dame. It's pretty cool.
I love
power of the comedian. Real power of good bits.
Yeah. He's like, what I love is his just sabotage. We touched on it too with the SEC and Nick Saban on College Game Day. He's doing the dirty work for all of the fans who just don't have the ability to get that same sort of message out. So I'm here for it. I love it. But also going back to the Eagles fan that we were talking about earlier, dude, this is the same level of love and fandom of a certain team that's directed in a proper way. Like, it's joking. It's like, yes, there's some seriousness to it, but it's mostly like jovial and just celebrating like, oh, that was an incredible play. That was an insane, like, physical feat that this guy just did, determination, all that kind of stuff. But then you can get the degeneration and degenerates acting in the way that we saw the Eagles guy toward the Packers lady early on. So I love this from Shane.
You know who else is deserves maybe a little bit of, no, I'm not going to say hate. But he's coming back up in the news again. And it is Brian Kelly, former Notre Dame head coach, and then fled down south to LSU. He is saying out publicly that, he's basically supporting Notre Dame in the national championship. He said, a lot of the guys there are on both sides of the ball that I recruited. Obviously, I want to see those guys win it all. And I think that they are in a great position. Totally excited for those guys. I wasn't leaving Notre Dame because I couldn't win a national championship. You can win a championship at Notre Dame, but I chose another path because I wanted a different challenge. And for those just listening, somebody quote tweeted this and said, Notre Dame fans are totally going to receive this well. Nothing but respect for the former head coach who abandoned them on a whim. Ooh.
Yeah.
Thoughts on this, Scott? On it's classy in a way that he is showing some love for the former team, but a part of it to me feels a little bit disingenuous, especially considering the way that he departed from the university.
Dude, no, this is I don't necessarily call it classy. I think what he's trying to do is take an element. There's an element of stolen valor here, and him pointing out like, oh, a bunch of those guys on that roster I actually brought in. I was the one who got them to this point, and Marcus Freeman just helped them get over the line. Buddy.
True. Like, stolen valor is the right term.
Yeah, like hop off here. Like you fled in the night, you left the team in the lurch, all the above. And also you saying you can win a national championship at Notre Dame, that cuts against everything you said directly after joining up with LSU. You essentially said that you cannot win at Notre Dame, but you wanted to go to a place that can and will always vie for a national championship. So, dude, this is a bold-faced 180 on his part, and Notre Dame fans are going to have all the receipts, all the timestamps, everything, and this is not going to fall well. Nope. Who cares? I don't care if you want to support us in the national championship. Your opinion.
He's just going out for a pack of cigarettes.
Just getting some milk. He'll be back. For those just listening, here is one of the receipts, Scott. This new tweet I just threw up. This is a quote from him in April 2022. After leaving Notre Dame for LSU, I want to be in an environment where I have the resources to win a national championship. And Notre Dame will now play for a national championship in 5 days. LSU has not made the CFP since Brian Kelly took over. So there's some of those receipts that you're talking about right there. Dude, I also, go ahead.
I was going to say resources. What are you talking about? Notre Dame is on par with all of the SEC teams in terms of resources at their disposal. Like, is he talking about academic standards? Oh, God forbid student athletes have academic standards and are trying to further themselves in things outside of just sports. Like, dude, this guy, this is just getting my skin crawling and making me, my blood is boiling. Let's just put it that way.
Resources like elixir, resources like gasoline.
Commodities.
Commodities. This is actually one of the things that's really is pushing me rooting for Notre Dame right now in this national championship, among other things, as you have kind of dragged me along into this world, Scott. Gotcha. But just the fact you got me, get your claws in me. Just the fact that there is such a rigorous and high standard for the students at that university and the student athletes, I think there's something really special to be said about a team that's playing for the national championship that is having excellence on the football field. But all these guys also have excellence off the football field in some way, shape, or form. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to be student athletes at Notre Dame. And I think that is a very special thing. And no offense, not really what you get down on the SEC teams. I know. Okay, Scott, sorry.
Yeah. Look, Brian's take here, he's trying to save face. He's trying to stay relevant. He's trying to save his own job. So he's probably pointing in the direction of, hey, like the national championship team is actually a roster that I put together. Like, LSU fans, don't be so mad at me. Boosters, don't be so mad at me. I can do this here at LSU. Give me some time. Like, that's essentially what he's saying. It's like, buddy.
Dude, I think all right, you've convinced me a little bit there. I'm backing away from my previous quote of saying it's classy that he's throwing some compliments their way. I think you're totally right. It's him trying to snag a little limelight right there by sneaking in the fact that, oh, actually, I recruited these guys that are now playing for national championships. Sprinkle a little bit of credit my way, credit's due, and that's actually what this message really feels like. I wanted to throw this up because just as Brian Kelly was back in the news with this stuff, this came out here, and I'm not sure if this is real or not. This is here we go. This story about Brian Kelly. On a winter night in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, Matt LaFleur and Robert Saleh thought they were invited to a party at the home of their boss, Central Michigan University football coach Brian Kelly. Turns out they weren't on the guest list. They were on the workers list. We shoveled the snow and parked all the cars, Robert Saleh said. Then at the end of the night, we had to go and get the cars again. Scott, your boy, Brian Kelly.
That's not my boy.
making his assistant coaches shovel snow and get to work at the Christmas party. I mean, it's just another notch in his belt.
You got to work your way up. He's doing him a favor. You start in the mailroom. You start
This
in
is how
ballet. You work your way up.
The term is shoveling, not shoveling snow. But I guess you just took it in this direction.
Well, they were learning how to be. That's how you become a great football coach. And look, actually, it worked because both of those guys became head coaches in the NFL. Both LaFleur and Robert Saleh. Hey.
Yeah, all due to Brian Kelly's work. I can imagine Brian Kelly trying to get a little bit of stolen valor for seeing Tommy Rees all of a sudden pop into becoming the new OC of the Cleveland Browns. So, like, my worlds are colliding here, but Brian, keep your sticky fingers and paws off of taking this valor and this news as you did with the recruiting class and rosters of Marcus Freeman. Just stay off, man. Stay away.
Oh, Brian Kelly. Here we throw this up. We do just have the announcement right here. That's Tommy Rees to the Browns.
Dude, 32 years old. How does that make you feel?
Oh, my gosh, dude. Are you serious? He's 32?
Former ND quarterback. Yep. 32. He's had some OC jobs in big-time programs in college ranks. It makes me question a lot of decisions in my life.
Dude, that is always so depressing when you got somebody the same age as you achieving something like, hey, dude, look, we are the co-hosts of the No Warmup podcast.
Yes,
right?
yes. So, no, we celebrate this win. Good job, Tommy. Welcome
way to go,
to the
Tommy.
Cleveland Browns.
We are something to turn that around.
PLC help
with your boy Deshaun Watson, dude. He tore his AC or his Achilles again.
I don't see injury to an individual as something to celebrate necessarily. But I think it gives the Browns organization the opportunity to start thinking of strategy moving forward beyond the guaranteed money that they have going toward him, which they sorely need to do. They need to start moving on. And I mentioned before, sunk costs, realize it when it's staring you in the face and move forward.
Hey,
maybe this gives them an opportunity to do so.
Scott, I'm sorry, but will you throw this up right here? Just maybe this strategy will work. This tweet, for those just listening, it says, if Sam Darnold plays any worse, he's going to get $100 million guaranteed from the Browns. Scott, I'm sorry, you guys caught a stray right there. Well, that does bring us in. We got to talk about the game on Monday, the Vikings and the Rams, man. We got Sam Darnold. Obviously, this was just kind of a heartbreaking end to what was a little bit of a Cinderella season for the Vikings, for Sam Darnold with Kevin O'Connell. The interesting thing is the Vikings, obviously the 14-win team, and here for those just listening, throwing up this graphic, the Vikings only lost 4 games this year, back-to-back games in week 6 and 7 against the Lions and the Rams, and then back-to-back games in week 18 and the wild card also against the Lions and the Rams. Super interesting right here. Just couldn't get over the hump. Scott, thoughts on that game and Sam Darnold just fumbling away the possible bag? Yeah,
first 14 win team in the NFL to lose in the wild card round in NFL history. Like, that's the most Minnesota Vikings thing you can think of. Just they're in the bucket of misery alongside us and Browns. So welcome, guys, even though you've been there for quite some time alongside us. But the one thing is here, okay, there were a lot of people jumping on Sam Darnold, and he has played terribly the past 2 games. I stepped in the batter's box for him and saying, like, okay, I'm not going to write him off until there are 3 bad games strung together in a row. He was saved by the fact that there isn't a third game. If saved is the right word there. But this second game was atrocious. However, looking at the body of work and everything that he did to that point, you can't knock him for it with those 2 games. I think he lost millions of dollars based off that performance. But I also think, going back to my point and why I stepped in the batter's box, I think this is a problem with Kevin O'Connell. For as many flowers as we've been giving him over this year, dude, you lost to 2 teams all year 4 times. That's a problem with scheme. That's a problem. You got outmatched. Yes, your players didn't play as well, but what happened in those first 2 games? Sam definitely didn't play as poorly as he did in these last 2 games, but you still lost those previous 2. So that's why I say I don't think this all falls on Sam Darnold's shoulders. Granted, he played horribly, but when you give up 9 sacks in a game, to a multitude of defensive players, there's something else going on. And I wouldn't say it's all Sam Darnold's fault. And yes, he needed to get rid of the ball way earlier in the pocket and maybe settle down in the pocket a little bit or slide as opposed to scrambling within a broken pocket, so on and so forth. And Troy Aikman was all about talking about that. But at the same time, it's like, dude, at a certain point when you hit sack 5, sack 6 in that game, you're just trying to make something happen. And he was running for his life. So that's why I got to give a little bit of leniency towards Sam, even though he played atrociously. He knows it for sure. Yeah. But I don't think all the blame lands on his shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great point that they lost to the exact same teams 2 times, and that really comes down to a lot of that coaching and scheme and game planning when you have the exact same teams and are unable to get past them right here. You talked about him holding onto the ball too long. Listen to this Minneapolis radio call from the other night. Dude, all right, this is like I started broadcasting football games this last year for the European League of Football, okay? And you gotta stay sharp and professional. These guys let their emotions get the best of them here.
Behind him, Aaron Jones, Addison in motion to the right. 2 receivers left. Rams blitz. Darnold gets away from it. Steps up in the pocket. He's holding it too long. Just run. Throw it, man.
Just run.
At the 25-yard line, he's sacked for a 5th time.
All he's got to do is pull that thing down and run and get as much positive yardage as he can. There were 5 to 7.
So, one of the cool things about radio broadcasters, especially the local ones, is they are always so passionate. They're so biased towards their team. And right here, these dudes, they let the emotions come out right there.
It's the anger of the past 40 years just seeping into this guy's answer right now.
It's all landed right there on poor Sam Darnold. And I got to throw this up for me, please, Scott. Just a funny meme. Sam Darnold, when the Vikings need him to play like a top 40 QB. And for those just listening, it is an AI-generated image of Sam Darnold in his uniform, but the face of actor Jesse Plemons, okay? If you don't know who that is, yes, you do. You've seen him in something. He's in every single movie.
He's in everything.
Like Mike.
Role. Yeah.
That was his biggest role.
Oh, he was great in Like Mike. The bully.
Great bully.
And he was also, what else? He's just been an absolute.
He's been in everything, dude.
Wait,
Absolutely.
why are they comparing him to this guy?
Redheads.
Yeah.
They all look alike.
Just your textbook classic level 1 bullying. So
that's cool.
Cool. Yeah.
I support it.
I feel badly for Sam. Because everyone is jumping on him right now, and he did for sure lose a lot of money.
Millions.
Dude, maybe $100 million. Because 3 weeks ago, we were talking about him being in that $50 million a year range. Now, best case scenario, he gets the Baker contract. Possibly even more realistically, another team, maybe he gets another 1-year deal where it's kind of like, hey, try it out again, prove it again. And then if you can do something in the playoffs, then you'll get the bigger contract. And so that's pretty devastating. And everyone is jumping on him right now. Thoughts? No,
well, I got to finish this off. I wouldn't say that I was ever a proponent of him getting paid $50+ million. I don't think a single season, as well as he may have played in that first 17 games, I don't think a single season should garner that sort of payment coming out.
Dude, we're doing that for guys who have played 9-10 games. Like, look at Jordan.
No,
Love.
I know that. Yeah, 100% agree. I don't think Love should necessarily deserve 55 or 50+ million either. And I've said that before. I think it's asinine what teams are willing to pay players who haven't had at least 2 full seasons of proving themselves. That's why I'm such a supporter of Brock in wanting him to get paid, because he's actually proven that, and he's shown that he's consistent regardless of how flashy or non-flashy he is. He's shown consistency over a course of multiple seasons, whereas these guys, I don't think Sam should have gotten it, but he definitely should have gotten a sweeter deal than most.
Yeah, I would say this year I think he's on the 1-year $10 million a year. That was his contract this year with the Vikings. And now a lot of talk is bubbling up. Okay, will they move off him? Will they go with J.J. McCarthy? Because back to 3 weeks ago, a lot of rumors going around that the Vikings were going to trade J.J. McCarthy, thinking, okay, we've got our quarterback here in Sam, long-term deal coming in. And it's just so crazy how much can change in just a couple weeks with just a couple games. It's like,
yeah, these are the same people who are reacting like the Eagles fan at the beginning of the show. Like they're just letting the emotions take the best of them, and they're not like taking a step back and realizing, oh, look at the body work, look at what happened throughout the season. There are things that we can work on. There are things that we can build upon. Yes, you had 14 wins, which is incredible for your organization, but at the same time, there were obviously some squeaky wheels in the machine that you need to get right beforehand. Let's shore up the offensive line. How about that? Let's get that protection down pat, because I don't know what was happening.
When you have the same amount of sacks given up as points scored, then you've got something to figure out there on the offensive line.
And I talk about Brock Purdy. Get yourself a Trent Williams. Get somebody there to help the dude out. Like, jeez.
Dude, I didn't realize Trent Williams is like 36 years old.
Oh, dude, he's just a wily old vet, but good. So good. Footwork at that size is insane.
Dude, I love seeing guys play deep into their 30s, mid 30s, into the late 30s. It just gives me hope. I don't know what for. I don't know what the hope is hitting on, but I like it. It makes me happy to see guys having long careers like that. Except, bro, Bobby Wagner in the playoff games this week, he got trucked by Baker. Did you see that?
Oh, yeah.
That was devastating. That was like, bro, don't do that to Bobby.
Baker was on a mission, man. He wanted that win so badly, and it hurts to see him lose. But hey, the guy got down. Bobby did his job. He got in the way.
Yeah, I mean, that's the most devastating, emasculating, embarrassing thing that can happen to a linebacker on or off the football field. As a former linebacker who has been trucked by a quarterback before,
by his own brother.
Yeah,
me.
Hey, Mike.
You were trucked by someone on this very podcast.
Somebody unnamed on this very. Yeah, when you were being Rudy from Notre Dame, going full speed, 100%.
I was in shorts, and that was a light trot.
You were not.
You think I was going? You thought I was going 100% in practice? That's your argument? Oh, Mike, I've never going really hard in practice. That's what you think?
No.
I had the Allen Iverson approach.
I've never seen you go 100% in a game either. So you never try, ever.
It's so boring. So boring.
All right. Okay. So we'll see what goes on with the Vikings. Big news, though, out of Texas. Dallas Cowboys are not bringing back Mike McCarthy. He didn't get fired. Okay. They just could not agree to terms, and they are mutually agreeing to part ways. That's what they're saying. Yeah. First of all, do you believe that? And I would like you to throw this up as well, please, because Mike McCarthy does get a lot of flack. He's got a very good resume.
Oh,
For those just listening, this graphic right here compares his statistics to Sean Payton and Tomlin. Okay. And he has the same amount of playoff appearances in 18 years as Tomlin. He's made the playoffs 12 times. He has the most division titles out of those three coaches, and he has the most playoff wins. But for some reason, we talk about Tomlin and Sean Payton as these kind of all-time coaches. Mike McCarthy just gets kind of brushed away and disregarded, as he just has been with the Cowboys here. Thoughts on this? Cowboys moving off him and him just not getting the love that his statistics might indicate he deserves.
Who's his agent? He needs Kirk Cousins' agent.
Everybody needs him. No, I think an element of this, and look, Mike McCarthy is an incredible football coach, and he's going to end up somewhere else here in the NFL and do an incredible job in leading guys. There's speculation that he may also re-team up with Aaron Rodgers wherever Aaron ends up going. So watch out for that duo.
Interesting.
Reconnecting. I think what happens here, and the reason why he gets such a bad rap, is I think it's really amplified itself ever since he went to Dallas. And obviously when you go to Dallas and you're in Jerry world, you have the microscope just fixed on you at all times because it's just where it's America's team, right? It's Jerry. He's larger than life. He makes everything about the brand and whatnot. And I think you're just under a different type of microscope when you're at the Dallas Cowboys, and then people just assuming that all the failures of that organization are due to the head coach is just laughable.
Yeah. First of all, they were America's team. America's team now is the Detroit Lions and the Notre Dame Fighting Irish.
Okay. I'll take half that answer.
Okay. Well, not the Detroit Lions. Who's America's team? Got the Browns? Do you think the Browns are America's team?
Yeah, they're the most endearing. Let's be honest. The Lions have just they've won too much already. So they've corrected themselves.
They have had 4 good years. They're in the infancy of their winning timeline here. Let them have it.
I will fully jump on this America's team Detroit Lions thing if they perform next year after losing Aaron Glenn and Johnson, their OC. They're both going to be gone after this year. And if they continue success under Dan Campbell, who I love Dan and everything he's done for that organization and how he's righted the ship, we need one at Cleveland for the love of God. But until they succeed next year without those two, I'm not saying they're America's team.
Oh my goodness. Hey, that's actually like very scary if you're a Lions fan, that you are very possibly going to lose the 2 of the best coordinators in the NFL. Like, this is kind of it. They are the favorite to win the Super Bowl, by the way. They are. Okay, so McCarthy out. I want to ask you about where you think he might go, but before that, will you throw this up here? Here's another conspiracy, okay? For those just listening, we've got a tweet up here right here that has a theory that is laid out. It says, hear us out. Mike McCarthy agrees to part ways with the team. Check. That already happened. Jerry Jones hires Deion Sanders. Cowboys trade for the number 1 pick and pick Shedeur. And then point number 4 is Dallas fans say this is our year and the Cowboys missed the playoffs. Okay, so let's focus on the first 3 points here of this theory. Number 4,
Cowboys fans are the ultimate New Year's resolutioners. This is my year. I really mean it. I'm going to get in shape this year. January 1, I mean it.
We got this.
I want to become a new person on January 1st.
New year, new me, Dallas Cowboys. Guys, thoughts on this theory right here? Because part 1 has already come true with McCarthy agreeing to part way with the team.
Look, I think there's credence to definitely the first 2 points. I don't know if the Cowboys move up to number 1, specifically because Jerry and Dak infamously have had the back and forth that they've had in dealings and getting getting Dak's contract signed and agreed to, which I think just occurred at the beginning of the season, a few games in. Is that right? Fact check me on that, Mikey. But I think that's just, with the amount of money that's going toward Dak already and what's been put into that contract, I don't see them moving off of him if they haven't already, right? But I find a whole lot of credence in the Deion Sanders thing. It makes the most sense in terms of the brand, which Jerry is wildly aware of, and that's his main focus, is keeping the star the main thing. He's 100% going to get Deion, or he's going to go hard into getting him. And I think there's some familiarity there, and I think that's probably the most likely outcome here that's coming through the pipe.
Dude, after watching Jerry Jones's cameo on Landman, I have rescinded all of my criticisms of Jerry and how he runs that
backbone, Nick.
No.
It was so good. I almost cried at his monologue. It was
when presented with new information, I'm going to change my opinion, and I changed my opinion on Jerry Jones. He's all about family and running the organization with his family. Okay,
he was acting.
He was not. Okay, that was a cameo of him playing himself.
Watch the scene. He was speaking from the heart. He was.
I bet you there weren't even lines in the script. Okay,
you think they gave him carte blanche? Just, hey, Jerry, run with this one.
Yes, he's that talented. Okay? Yeah, you think that Taylor Sheridan made up this little story for him? It was too good of a performance from a non-actor, delivered in such a real and emotional way that I believe it 100%. Okay?
Or he's always locked in the acting mode, and you're always getting the actor, and maybe that's just him proving himself on the big screen.
If that's the case, then he's got me. Either way, Scott, I approve of all of Jerry's decisions. I'm fine I'm fine that he's meddling and that he's had the Cowboys being pretty mediocre for the last 30 years, and that he wants to be the star and the GM. I'm fine because he's all about family.
Yeah. What was the infamous quote with good old Jimmy Johnson back in the day? We don't want people here that become bigger than the star. Like, I wonder if he's changed his tune here with Deion, because, boy, Deion is wildly bigger than the star. Granted, yes, the reason why Deion is Deion is partly due to what he did at the Cowboys, because they were so popular back in the day. But at the same time, like, I don't know, maybe you're right. Maybe Jerry wants to win so badly that he's willing to give up that 90 years of just that same thought process. But I don't know.
That is the tough thing there, is that Jerry himself is such a star and such a he loves going on the media, and Deion is even brighter. And Deion is like, his trajectory of stardom is super high right now. And so that's the only thing. I think it could be an interesting fit, but that's the only reservation I had is like kind of two huge stars. Now, for those just listening, I've just thrown up another potential Dallas Cowboy head coach option situation. This person says, best case scenario, Ben Johnson. Worst case, Rex Ryan. Hilarious, Michael Irving. Full on circus would be Deion Sanders. I think I disagree with that a little bit. On brand for the Cowboys, Ron Rivera. And then there's a few others here that are just, but then the last one is crazy enough to maybe work, Pete Carroll. Scott, do you like any of these besides the Deion stuff? Because, what do you think could be realistic and would be good?
Yeah, this one's a tough list because I have to kind of go against what I was saying beforehand with like talking about potential of a coordinator. And we've seen so many coordinators get into the head coaching position and fail, whether they be offensive coordinators or defensive coordinators. So I always have a little hesitancy to say, like, let's pull the trigger on Ben Johnson right away. He's going to be a superstar. He's going to take these guys to the next level, because you never really know how a new offense jives with the group and the roster that's there at Dallas, especially in the first year. And then if you have hurdles and problems and you don't correct them in the right way, that they only compound and get worse and worse. So I got to kind of lean on the fact that you got to go with a guy while they may be failing in recent years, has the head coaching pedigree already and resume. So I don't think it's the craziest thing to see Pete Carroll's name on this. Granted, the age, that's a little wild to think of.
Jerry, Jerry's not going to be deterred by the age. Jerry's like 90 years old himself. Pete's a kid.
Spring chicken.
Huh?
Yeah, he's a spring chicken. I don't know. It's like, if all of these coaches are your options, like, you're not going to be in a bad spot, or at least in the media's eyes. Like, if you choose any of these guys, say for maybe Ron and Matt Nagy, those two, I can't see that being reality, especially after them failing in the way that they did, or being out of the league for some time now. Michael Irvin would be absolutely hilarious, but I also think he fits better on the full-on circus realm at the same time.
Yeah, he would be. Yeah. I mean, I think I would be the most interesting and most entertaining would be the Deion situation, just to see if it would actually work. Yeah. I mean, whether the Cowboys were winning or not next year, if Deion was the coach, I bet there'd be a lot of eyeballs on him. They'd be selling tickets. They'd be Primetime again.
I hate that I'm agreeing with him, but I think Adam Schefter came on the Pat McAfee show the other day and actually floated out a name that isn't all that surprising and is probably in the race, though nobody knows it is, Jason Witten. I wouldn't be surprised if Jerry was trying to emulate what the Lions have done with Dan Campbell, going for the Hall of Famer tight end in Jason Witten and bringing him on, because I think he just won the Texas high school state championship as a coach. Because once you do that, sky's the limit as an NFL coach.
Texas high school state championship. You guys put him in the Hall of Fame right now.
Have you seen Friday Night Lights?
Great show, great movie. All right, staying on the head coaching rumors. We're playing a lot of rumor mill here today. Robert Saleh. There's real buzz that he could be the next head coach of the Jaguar. I almost said Jaguar the European way. What is happening to me?
Yeah.
I almost said Jaguars.
Oh,
guys,
my.
You gotta help, Mike.
Nick, you gotta get out of there. We're gonna bring you home.
We have to have an intervention first, and then we smuggle him out like Brian.
Blink
Kelly
once if you're in trouble.
Send a plane. I said Mayo and now Jaguars. They're going to take my passport, my American passport. I'm sorry for all my American brethren who heard me say Jaguars the British way. I'll never say it again that way. But thoughts on this? Robert Saleh, obviously the Jets moving off him way too early, and him just being in the abyss. I think he was being a consultant with the Packers for the second half of the season. And now he's back in the head coaching conversation possibility down in Jacksonville. Would you like this move right here? Or there's also rumor that he would return to San Francisco as the DC, because their defense, since he and DeMeco Ryans have left, has not really been the same. thoughts on the Saleh situation?
For his sake, stay away. I don't think Jacksonville is a properly run organization under Khan. I think they've been trying to shoot for the moon, grasping at straws for too long. I mean, the Urban Meyer debacle was just a prime example. You know, they tried to right the ship with Doug Peterson, which I commend them for. They attempted, but it ultimately didn't come through. And I think Doug Peterson is a great coach. And actually, that's crazy that he wasn't on the list there for the Dallas Cowboys, because he's probably in the running as well. But going back to Saleh, stay away, dude. Don't go there. I think it makes sense for him to have a get right year or maybe two going back home. But ultimately, I think those dollars are going to be speaking quite loudly, because I know Khan can throw some money at people.
Yeah, dude, but I do not want to see Robert Saleh go down to the Jaguars. I mean, I want him to be a head coach in the NFL again. Like, the Jets are just, gosh, man, moving off him like that so quickly. But no, Jaguars is not the spot. I would prefer to see him go back to the 49ers, take over that defense once again, and just a regroup year, reset. And then there's going to be more attractive coaching positions that open. I think every year it's on average, it's like 7, maybe even 8 head coaching positions. 7 to 9, head coaching positions open up in the NFL. And I mean, we're starting to see it already here with the coaching carousel in the offseason. Yeah. And if you have the luxury of not forcing it, not jumping in, it's like Sean Payton. He stayed out for a year or two, waiting for the right job to come to become available. Exactly. And now he's got the Denver Broncos gig. He's got a great quarterback, and he's having success in the first year though. So I think that's kind of the smart way of going about this when you
second year.
Yeah. Excuse me. I forgot to have the Russell Wilson debacle. Dude, that was not good. And they shipped him off. All right. So that's what we got here in the NFL situation. We got to talk about this. We don't talk much golf on the show. Okay? Not yet. So much, but not yet. Things are about to change because there's this new golf league, the TGL. And let me throw this up. This debuted on TV the other night. First of all, Tiger Woods coming on in to Eye of the Tiger. Pretty legit walk-in entrance right here.
Rising up.
What's cooler, him walking into that or Mike Tyson walking into a singular note?
Oh, that's scary.
Scary.
True, yeah.
Mike Tyson one is just scary. All right. So the TGL is the Tomorrow Golf League. Okay. And let me just give you the definition from Wikipedia here of what this is, because some people might not know if you're not following golf very closely. It is a new golf league formed in partnership with the PGA Tour, with Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy. They combine traditional golf play with elements of indoor simulated golf. Okay, and they had their first tournament last night, and it debuted on TV. And there's kind of mixed feelings, mixed emotions regarding this. I want to get your guys' thoughts on it. How you feel about the TGL?
This thing is awesome. This is catering to the millennial, my generation and below. Okay, the generation that's getting full ride scholarships to play Fortnite in college.
Oh,
you know, the gamification of sports.
Mike,
this is a real sport. In close, we talk about it like with football, playing in a dome, playing in a vacuum. Okay, and seeing just raw talent. That's what this is.
Oh. Nick, you go for this first.
Okay, let me go. First of all, Mike, I'm not surprised at all that you love this with your Gen Z brain, simulation, indoor golf,
which we're in, by the way. Have you seen Ready Player One? This is the future.
Yeah, and this is the path we're headed down. If we celebrate this, look, golf has been around since like 1497, the modern version of golf. Okay, it's a very historic game coming from Scotland, by the way. It's a very traditional, historic game. And hey, I know my golf history. And there's a lot of tradition with it. And this right here is just making a mockery of this. I won't call it a great sport, but of this important sport in our culture. Okay. And this is making an indoor mockery of it. It's essentially a video game. And I got to say, I'm just kind of disgusted by the whole thing.
Just irked. No. Okay. Look. you saying golf is a great sport, but you're not wanting to go that far. I say it's an absolutely beautiful game. Golf is incredible. Everybody can play it. It's low hanging fruit for anybody who wants to be active and wants to play a game of precision, right, and accuracy, and so on and so forth. And I absolutely love the game, even though I'm god awful at it. Just want to get better.
I don't have the temperament.
Yeah. But at the same time, like, look, this is something I fight against, and it looks like golf itself, while it's been the same for that many years, that many centuries going on, it's trying to figure out its way forward, right? And to increase the game, increase the popularity, and so on and so forth. And Tiger Woods, even before all of this stuff happened, late in the 90s, late 90s, early 2000s, was absolute, just talk about being a vanguard like Shane Gillis. He was helping lead the charge in growing the fandom and just eyeballs on the sport in general. And he's done a great job. And he's just thinking of that next iteration. And like, as a kid who like grew up watching, because my dad loves golf, my brother is absolutely obsessed with golf as well. Like, I have an affinity for it. I watch it, suck at it, all that kind of stuff. I want to see Tiger continue to play as best he can. Obviously, he has a bunch of off-field stuff that occurred in the early 2010s and all that jazz. But looking at the sport specifically, like this, I feel like they're trying to find that next step, that next evolution to just get eyeballs on it and get people engaged, because there is a fear that people will just let it die and fall by the wayside. So
especially with this new generation, our attention span is what, 3 seconds now? Okay.
Yeah,
no one's watching golf on TV. This new generation is not watching golf on TV. This is how you get the new generation to care about golf.
What is your thought? Is this a better version than you think, like the Live? Because the Live's trying to do this as well, and that just looks Mickey Mouse in my estimation. And this feels a little like
look. The golf is trying, like all these other sports. Everyone is trying to increase their ratings, gain popularity, and everyone's trying to compete with the NFL in any sort of way. Okay, trying to get eyeballs. Golf has the potential to do that if they just make some changes in a similar way that kind of baseball did with the pitching clock, for example. Like in this TGL golf league, they have a shot clock, essentially. It's like 40 or 45 seconds. So there's a lot of action, and they are playing, and people aren't waiting in minutes in between shots. So there is this. Why don't we just apply this type of shot clock to the PGA Tour or to the Live Golf Tour? So we still have traditional outdoor golf, like real golf, but maybe we speed it up a little bit for the attention deficit disorder generation.
It's a real disease with doctors and everything.
Everything's an ism these days, or a disease these days.
Another ism.
Like impatience is a disease. Look,
I mean, why don't we do that?
I get what you're saying, Nick. But at the same time, what are they supposed to do? Teleport after they hit a ball 250 yards? Like, it takes a second to get there.
On the hop. They're going to be on the hop.
John, okay? Make it more.
Oh, that would be interesting. Sprint golf.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's why I did have a little bit of a trouble earlier calling it an amazing sport. I like calling it a game, but if they were to sprint in between the shots, or at least jog, then I would consider it a sport.
Nick, you were arguing that chess is a sport. How are you not going to argue that golf is a sport?
Because you burn a lot of calories with chess, Mike. Your brain is on fire.
Yeah, I think they burn more calories.
The PGA Tour, they're forced to walk, so they're probably putting in 25,000 steps per round.
Yeah, but that actually burns less calories than you think. It probably burns about 500 calories. Whereas
but when you're swinging,
Magnus
when you're doing all of those things, plus the mental acuity that you need.
How many calories do you think a swing burns? 3?
I don't know. Let's get somebody who's, what is it, swoop ring?
No, I'm here to say I would guess. Mike, ask ChatGPT what burns more calories: an intense chess match or 9 holes of golf. And then
I'll get back to you.
You get back
Define
to
intense in chess.
You're two really elite players, such as me and Mikey, playing against each other in the Alfieri living room and then fighting after. That's intense.
Prompt ChatGPT with that information.
Yeah, put all that in there. Yeah, I don't know. On one hand, I like that they are trying to be creative and reinvent a sport in the modern way and make a kind of a fun environment here. But at the same time, it almost feels like a mockery. It feels like an arcade. It reminds me of like Bullwinkles from Oregon City that we go to. Like, it's just this traditional game that comes out of the coast of Scotland, St. Andrews, should not be played like this.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with you that, like, obviously I'm the traditionalist here on this show, so it does pay me to see this. I don't mind this being an off-season game or league that's played with people just to stay like active and so on and so forth. I'm fine with that, but this definitely can't bleed into the PGA Tour or whatever the hell this morphing is going to be with the Live and the PGA, because I don't even know if that's going to happen. We have heard no news of any sort of movement on that agreement and that merging.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
According to ChatGPT, here's the calorie count.
There we go.
A competitive chess match lasting 4 to 6 hours could burn 400 to 600 calories. Okay? 9 holes of golf. Just 9 holes. Is 500 to 700 calories. So pretty close.
That's half the game. They play 18, Mikey.
Oh, Scott. No. Here. Also, I am so for making 9 holes of golf the standard. 18 holes is ridiculous.
That's why
if you're talking about traditionalism, you're cutting against your own like stance there, Nick. Where's your backbone today?
No. I'm saying
you are like a willow in the wind.
9 holes for golf, and Jerry Jones can do whatever he wants. Okay, those are what I stand for. Okay, that's what we got. I don't know. We'll see. We don't need to make everything Mickey Mouse video game TikTok. We don't need to make everything that. Okay, because there's even like some of these. I'm seeing all these weird bastardizations of certain sports and games and mixing, and it's just, hey man, we got our sports. They're good. You can make some slight adjustments, but you don't need to turn it into this weird hybrid video game.
Yeah. And I mean, I agree with you on all fronts there. It's the same as like the NFL. Granted, there are different reasons why the NFL is really trying to push flag football for physical reasons and health and all that kind of stuff, or perceived health.
Perceived health.
Yes. Would you say that like the XFL or the UFL or whatever it's called now falls into this realm?
Yeah, kind of. I don't really have a huge problem with this. I mean, we've seen so many different kind of spring alternative football leagues pop up and die off in the United States, trying to, fill the void of the NFL offseason. I don't hate those because it's still the same sport. It's not some weird indoor hybrid game. Like some of these football leagues that have popped up, like indoor football or arena football, those I really don't like. That kind of falls in the same category as the TGL for me. But if it's the same sport, like as the UFL is, save for the kickoff rule, actually those are the same now, then I'm fine with it. What do you think?
Well, I don't think that makes sense from a business standpoint because you have to differentiate yourself because you're not going to get the same quality of player in the spring leagues in the NFL. So you have to find a way to be different. And I think that's what this TGL is trying to do. Is like you can't just emulate. We're seeing the Live, even though it has all the money in the world backing it, like popularity. I don't even know the numbers of it, but being on the CW, again, it looks Mickey Mouse, and I don't know how many eyeballs are actually following it. And that's probably why they're merging with the PGA in order to make sure that they're capturing that fandom in total. To the NFL stuff, like I don't think the NFL, even though they may say it, I don't know if they really care to support a spring league like the XFL or the UFL or whatever the hell it's called now. There's no benefit to them, I think, because they already have this strange sort of developmental league, which is called college football, and they don't have to put any money into it. That's already happening, and their players are getting developed to a certain level, and then they just have to pick and choose from that.
It's the perfect feeder system for them. I wonder actually how the NFL would feel about NIL and transfer portal stuff, because it is modifying their feeder program a little bit. And as we've said on this show, turning college football into a weird semi-pro hybrid league. So I kind of wonder how the NFL would feel about that. The thing is, NFL, no matter what, is king. It's like, people are complaining that the college football national championship, the biggest game in college football, is on a Monday. And why is that? So they don't have to try and compete with a NFL playoff game because they couldn't.
Yeah.
And so,
I don't think the NFL really cares about the development of the NIL and everything like that. I mean, they have their eye on it just in case, because it's ultimately, if it starts affecting their ability to get good talent or big names into the league sooner, with guys staying in college longer, that might start becoming an issue. But I bet you there's some sort of backhand deal with the NFL, the NCAA, all speculation here, to make sure that doesn't happen. And obviously the NCAA is trying their best to stay relevant in this day and age, and the rules matter kind of thing. But yeah, I don't think the NFL, as you said, it's king. It's still gonna benefit based off of that non-official or unofficial feeder system that is college ball. And if it becomes more like the NFL in a business aspect of things, I think that only helps the NFL. So they're probably like, yeah, dude, do that. And then these guys are going to come in more developed with the business understanding that the NFL is a business, and things are going to run more smoothly than just having, say, underdeveloped or cognitively underdeveloped guys who can't handle the business aspect of the league.
Yeah. Well, okay. Going back to when you say if you're going to do something else like this, you have to differentiate in some way, shape, or form. Do you think that's why all of these spring football leagues and alternate football leagues that have popped up over all these years in the United States have all failed because they haven't differentiated enough? I know even, for example, the XFL tried to differentiate in the early 2000s when they went like really crazy. And it was like a mix between football and
the melee kickoff
and stuff and hockey.
Yeah.
Do you think that's why they haven't been able to find success, or do you just think that you just can't compete at all with the NFL, even if the NFL's not playing at that time?
Yeah, I don't think it's because I said in last episode, you have to, in order to innovate, you have to imitate first. So there's an element of them capturing the game and playing the game, but they have to find tweaks to try and create some sort of interest from fandom, or pull some people over from the NFL fandom to be interested in it and be like, oh, that's something new, that's interesting, all that kind of stuff. And look, the NFL is benefiting from all of these organizations trying to pop off, because they've taken some actual technology and some ideas from the XFL. As we all know, the Skycam came from the XFL. They've implemented that and have really expanded that to a point in which we have literal streams of the game straight from the Skycam, and they get eyeballs on that. They get advertisements through that channel and all that kind of stuff. So they've benefited from not having to necessarily back financially or even just on the face marketing these other leagues. So I don't think the NFL is going to like try and stamp these out, but I lost the original question, or the thread of your original question. I just went down a rabbit hole there.
Yeah, that was a good rabbit hole. I mean, that's a good rabbit hole.
Nick, don't you think? Okay, I think the only league that has any potential of not competing but like surviving next to the NFL is the ELF.
Yeah, I was just gonna bring.
What do you think about that? Because
different
I just
market.
think all the different market, all the big cities, it like from a fan's perspective, when you travel to these games, you're going to like Paris, you're going to Munich, you're going to these big European cities that are like vacation destinations.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's their great point, Mike. And that's what I just wanted to bring up. That is a differentiator. First of all, it's played in the off season. It's played like in the spring to summer, and the championship game ends like in the first week of the NFL season. And it is a different market, but also I think that there's potential for Americans to kind of catch on to that and start watching this league, because it is really interesting. There's a lot of talented guys there. There's also American players who come over, maybe some guys that you might have heard of or followed in college. I think what this league needs is a big splashy name to come over into the league and play. And Johnny Manziel actually was in talks with one of the teams a couple of years ago. But I think if the ELF would be able to get a name like that, kind of a former big name, a Manziel or a Tim Tebow, then that thing could really pop off, because it is very interesting to watch.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, if you got Americans trying to watch the game, that's a little different. But I think in terms of growth of the sport itself in Europe, I agree with you. And any Americans who may be interested, as you're saying, Nick, if a big name goes over, to then start following the ELF, I think you're totally right, Mikey, in the idea that Europe has so many beautiful places to offer for locations of teams or organizations, which like America, it definitely has that. But when you're talking about the spring leagues being like, I don't know, 8 straight weeks in Birmingham, Alabama, for how much I love Alabama, like the state, like that's not nearly as intriguing as, oh, I'm going to Cologne or something like that, or, some beautiful city in Europe. I don't know if Cologne's beautiful. I've never actually been there.
Cologne is not beautiful. It has a beautiful church. Okay. One of the tallest churches in the world.
It's gorgeous.
But the city itself, it's very vibey.
Okay, I would say Nuremberg was pretty dope when I spent time there.
Nuremberg,
gorgeous,
Nuremberg is beautiful.
Yeah, so I would agree with you, and it's like you're not cannibalizing yourself with the fandom and trying to take NFL eyeballs and bring them into your sport. You're really fostering a whole new fandom. And the potential for that is almost limitless, or at least the whole entire population of Europe and beyond. So I think that makes way more sense.
Yeah, and it also is kind of working in cohesion with the NFL coming over to Europe and doing the international games here in Germany, in London. They're doing one in Spain as well. And they just announced the Colts are going to play in Berlin. So that like really works in tandem. And the NFL, of course, wants to grow the sports and make it popular internationally and create NFL fans all around the world. And that's kind of exactly what this is doing.
Yeah.
So there we have it. That's the TGL Golf League.
Way to wrap it up. Perfect.
Thank you. No, I'm sick today. Okay, my brain wasn't all the way on there. So I think that's enough sports for today. Mikey and Scott, good stuff, guys. There you are, Mike. And everyone, thank you for watching, and we will see you on the next one.